City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com. Hello and welcome to City Spotlight. We're wrapping up another season here on City Spotlight, Season 9, including this episode, just 3 episodes left in this season. And you won't want to miss the final 2 episodes of this season of City Spotlight. It's a 2-part finale, so you won't want to miss that. But here in this episode first, we're going to take a look at some of the best of the second half of Season 9 of City Spotlight. First, we revisit an episode on Sullivan and the opening of the Moultrie County History Center. We'll have the full interview at the new building in Sullivan that now houses the Moultrie County History Center. Then, in our second segment, it's a bonus cut of something you just saw in our last new episode here on City Spotlight featuring KZ. This bonus cut will feature April Hagen and her trolley ride through KZ. Thanks for joining us here on City Spotlight as we near the end of Season 9. And now enjoy the best of the second half of Season 9 of City Spotlight. We have 2 guests to my left. We have David Bowers and Janet Roney of the Moultrie County Historical and Genealogical Society.
Yes.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Glad to be here on this great day, the grand opening of this new facility here on the southern part of Sullivan. We're going to talk about this day, this grand opening, this facility, and all that's in it. But first off, you both are first-time guests. Can you each tell us about yourself? We'll start with Janet.
Yes, it's nice to be here and so glad that you're here to share what we're all excited about. I'm Janet Roney. I'm from Lovington, Illinois. I used to be a teacher, a history teacher, and then I'm a farmer's wife, and I help with the Moultrie County Historical Society. In fact, David used to be one of my students years ago.
Fantastic. All right. Very good. Nice to have Janet on the program. Janet was a storyteller on the Sullivan This Is Our Story program, so familiar to our WEIU viewers. David, welcome to the program. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you. I'm a retired business owner in Lovington. My family owned the Moultrie Independent Telephone Company that my brothers and I sold in 2016. I've got a little bit of experience on the business side of things, and I was, if you like the term, railroaded into a position. The previous president decided that I was the one that he wanted to help him carry on. So I have been very pleased to work with all these people. I know some of them personally. I knew a lot of them by name, and we've got a great group of people here working.
Fantastic. Great to have you both on. First time here on City Spotlight. In that Sullivan This Is Our Story program that we did on WEIU about 3 years ago, we had a couple of stories that were from the nature of the Historical and Genealogical Society. As I mentioned, Janet. Paul Stone, who I see walking in the background, also told a story about this organization. Let's educate our viewers, if they didn't see the program on Sullivan. Give us a brief history of the Historical and Genealogical Society here in Moultrie County.
Well, it started first with just a historical society in 1967, and when I quit teaching, I helped get it started, and then we wanted to add the genealogy part of it, so 50 years ago, this year, we became a Moultrie County Historical and Genealogical Society, which is a mouthful.
Congratulations on that.
Yes, and we've been able to help people find out about their families and give them a much richer life, we think.
David, do you want to add anything to the history of this organization? 50 years old, again, congratulations on providing a history of the county.
Well, what I would like to add is about our older building. It was a firehouse, one of Sullivan's firehouses. It was a challenge for a lot of the members to convert, and more or less the statement, Grandma's Attic, is a description of what we used to have. Today, with the transition, the city of Sullivan, the mayor actually was talking to a committee of 5, and he said, well, why don't you borrow some money from the city of Sullivan and we'll keep it in-house. their loan program didn't fit us, but we knew that there was a trust that the city had been left with from the Winifred Titus estate. We received a $200,000 matching grant, and we had 2 years to raise that money.
Okay.
We raised our half of it in 9 months.
Right.
So we have had members that have come out of the woodwork to contribute to us, not only financially, but also with many of the items that are here in our facility. It would be easy to forget to add names of people who have stepped up in our communities.
It's a long list.
Yes, it is.
And so you talk about the previous building, which was in downtown Sullivan, correct?
Yes.
So it took a little bit of time. You have a new facility here on the south end of Sullivan, off Route 32, which is also South Hamilton Street in Sullivan.
That's right.
Why was this new facility needed? I guess maybe that's an easy question to ask.
Well, the old building was very useful at the time, but we needed a lot of repair, and it seemed that maybe the best thing to do would be to find a different facility, and we were blessed to find one here. So it's been very, very good move for us.
All right, thank you for all the backdrop of the previous building, the organization. Now let's talk about today. Again, we're taping here April 1st, 2023, the grand opening of the Moultrie County History Center, museum, library, maybe some other things attached to the title. Talk about this day. What does this day mean to each of you, the grand opening of this new facility?
It is so exciting. And we have had a wonderful turnout. We've had a wonderful musical program this afternoon from a group from Bloomington who dressed in period costumes, played music authentic to the Civil War era. We've had a huge turnout of local people who are interested in supporting us, people, new faces too, and we've had a lot of positive feedback from it, so we're very pleased.
David, want to ask you a follow-up about this day. The turnout, I wasn't counting. I would guess there was at least 100 people here at its peak.
Yeah,
what does that say about this day and people wanting to be here for this grand opening?
It's closer to between 175 and 200.
Okay.
And that's saying a lot for the people. There have been people I know from Lovington. There have been people from Arthur, Bethany, Sullivan. Everybody showed up. The county knows what we've put together now, and that's going to be a benefit to all of us. We knew how we could try to meet with our members by communicating with them to help us do fundraising. Today shows them what we've been able to do. We need to be able to keep our fundraising matching our ability to complete this type of work.
You listed off many of the communities because it is a county facility. Very good. All right, I drove by here the other day after I taped the first segment that we did on the Sullivan schools, and I said, wow, look at it on the outside. I can only imagine how beautiful it is on the inside. We've been showing some of that video as we've been talking. Tell us what's inside the facility.
Well, we're sitting right by a log cabin, which has been built into one of the corners of the building. Behind me is an image of a prairie mural, which actually I painted a long time ago.
Very nice artwork.
It's down at Lake Shelbyville, the original. Anyway, we have a continuous story of Moultrie County, beginning with the very beginnings of the geography and the geology, and flows through the pioneer era, goes to modern farming exhibits. We have a wonderful military exhibit, little theater, Lincoln, the old courthouse's courtroom before they remodeled it. And it's just a fun place to come and see, and you can learn a lot. It'll be good for children to come and see too.
I told a few people, my oldest son loves it. He loves history like me, so I'm going to have to bring him here. He'll love everything that is on display here. We were at another county's history museum last season on City Spotlight, so it's great to check out what's in the counties and our local communities. David, This is a repurposed facility here on the southern end of Sullivan. Great space for what you need to put on display here.
Yes, it is. We've been looking at the different displays, and when we talked about them originally, we met in the other room, and it was still cold enough. We weren't heating the building all the time, and we had our little campfires where we all brought lawn chairs and sat in the room in there in a circle, and we talked about things. What I really love is that we worked on the military display first.
That's right.
We were able to, we even had some people offer things today when they were here. But to us, it was very important that that be one of the showcases that we put, and that's why it's back there in the middle. And we've been able to put everything else around it. The education display, we have had one person that was spoken to who used to be a grade school principal. She actually taught one of our other members, and she kind of grabbed at the idea of being an education committee. I think I termed it Education Connection Committee when we first talked about it.
Right.
And she picked 6 or 7 other retired teachers, and they have been in liaison with the administration of each of the schools. So we're going to be reaching out to the children, and we have an interactive display over there that one of our local people dressed up in a garb that was actually the person was a teacher who had it, and she did lessons at the center school over at the pumpkin patch. Mm-hmm. So that was on loan to us. Mm-hmm. One Sunday morning, we presented our image on the screen. It was a great opportunity for us.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Do you each of you, do you have a favorite display in this facility?
Well, frankly, they all are pretty special, but
That's the easy answer, but it's a good answer.
I do love the military display. Pam Wood is our museum director. She and Sue Durbin have done beautiful work in just how they arrange the displays. Mm-hmm. And then there are storyboards that tell the stories. There's interactive things, as he was talking about,
right.
Plus there are screens that tell around the military museum, tell about many of our veterans, and you got to come and see this place. It's pretty special for a little county. We're one of the smallest counties in the state, and yet we can do this. Other people can do something like that in their counties too.
It is a great achievement for your organization.
That's right.
And all the communities that are in Moultrie County. David, do you have a favorite aspect of this place?
Yes, I do. About 6 years ago, I think, let me start back 10 years ago, Mac and Don Young from a Bowling Young Funeral Home were at Dalton City when the old switchboard was removed, and that's the switchboard that's over there.
Very cool.
That is so cool.
They had it in one of the garages, and they were going to throw it away. And I've known Mac and Don for a number of years, and Mac said, let's call David Bowers and see if he would like to have it. So
I didn't know that story.
I had it in my garage at our offices, and one day I thought, I think I need to call the Historical Society and see if they need this. So I spoke with Sue Durbin, and she says, bring it down. So it was in the other museum, and now it's here, and the storyboard makes it. It's the whole display.
It's very cool. I enjoyed looking at that. Last question for you, and I probably could have asked this question at the very beginning. Interviewed a number of people such as yourselves that help preserve history in our local communities. Why is it important to preserve history in our local communities? We'll start with Janet.
Oh, I love to talk about this. If we don't know our history, there's the old adage is you're doomed to repeat it. I have another wrinkle or another aspect of why local history even is as important as national history. I think if you know about the story behind your community or your family, you have a much better appreciation of things that have gone before you. Plus, it enriches your life in such a way that you would not have had you not had some knowledge. And that's what our main goal is, to help people enrich their lives with knowledge about their local history and their family.
Fantastic. David, your answer to that question, why is it important to preserve history in our local area?
Well, as you step through the front doors, to me, the geological part of it is what is important. You have to know what this place was way back then to be where it is today. I've been interested in the glacier for a long time, and to know how far it came down here, why we have the earth that we do. As a matter of fact, I was working through some things in my basement the other day, and I came across the 3 little vials of earth that I got from area fields back in 1967. Janet's class was a 9-week project for each of the students. I had the misfortune of, apparently I misinterpreted the instructions, and I did 3 projects instead of 1.
Wow.
So,
You got an A,
so
I'm sure.
I learned about the geology. I learned about why we've got trees where we do, why we've got prairie grass, why we've got some of the animals that we do have. And it's like Janet said, if you don't know where you came from, if you made mistakes then, you're doomed to do it again. So I try not to make mistakes, but sometimes it happens.
Good words to live by. David Bowers and Janet Roney with the Moultrie County Historical and Genealogical Society. Thank you for your time here on City Spotlight. We appreciate your time, and congratulations on the Moultrie County History Center here. Glad to be taping with you guys.
Thank you.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's packed down here. There are a lot of people in and out, trolleys nonstop all day long. And then Sunday afternoon, you're usually kind of hit and miss there. Some Sundays are really busy and then some are a little slower.
Any odd questions people ask you?
How many people have died in your cemetery?
Why the cemetery?
We were driving past it and a little boy wanted to know how many people had died in that cemetery.
You told me off camera there that the trolley is kind of its own little attraction.
It really is. People will pull over to take pictures of the trolley, or they'll stop in the middle of the road and wait for you to come up to us so they can take pictures of it. We have people who come to town just to ride the trolley. It's just really kind of the draw right now. Was this a planned stop for you guys today? Yes. All right. The ultimate destination, or were you going somewhere else?
Kind of seeing where we land.
Oh, those are my favorite trips. Yeah. And where are you guys visiting from today?
Dallas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Was this a planned stop for you?
Home.
No, our kids are in Illinois.
They're in
They're not
Waukegan.
in Waukegan.
We sent our way
And our
home.
grandkids.
Decided to stop. Saw this on the news last year.
On the news.
So I just kept it and wanted to visit it.
Have any of you been here before?
Nope.
You guys have? Yeah. All right. We're named after Zadok Casey, who was the senator of Illinois at the time. There are 2 things about that. One, there's absolutely no documentation of him having ever stepped foot in this area. So we really don't know why they chose to name it after him. And 2, his pronunciation is Casey, like the gas station. But if you've been in town for more than 2 minutes, you realize that the locals will quickly call you out if they hear you say Casey. We are KZ. We are 2 letters that are not in the spelling of the word that we're named after.
KZ, huh?
Yes. And the explanation they give us for that is our location on the map. We are just far enough south. We have some of the slower southern speech pattern that has worked in here, but we're far enough north. We have some of the rapid speech pattern that has worked in, and we've combined the 2 and created our own speech pattern in this part of the country. Oh, she likes you guys. It only took her 2 tries today.
When you come to a little town like this in the middle of what seems like nowhere, and you stumble across some little town that has 12 Guinness World Record things, what do you think?
I think it's awesome in a little town in Illinois. I'm originally from Illinois myself. But I just think it's cool. I think it's a great idea. It's just something to do. Get out of the house and go roaming, and go find some cool things to do. That's what I like about it. Swing together. Send a picture to Tyler.
Which big thing wowed you the most?
The rocking chair and the wind chime.
This giant taco right here is not a world's largest item. It was not made here locally, and Jim and his crew did not create it. He came to us from Mexico. When this restaurant came into our community, they wanted to add to the decor here, so they commissioned a company in Mexico to build this for them. And if you look over here in the third tall stained glass window, the one that is the closest to the bell, right there in the middle of that oval, you are going to find Abraham Lincoln looking back at you. I am going to direct your attention to this side of the trolley. Right here in the last window is a large crochet hook. And then hanging right here on the wall is a large set of knitting needles. Those are the two items that are the former world record holders here in Casey. In order to be certified, those items did have to work. She actually had to knit with those knitting needles, and she had to crochet with that crochet hook. The owner of that establishment is a former elementary teacher here in Casey. When she broke the world record, she did that in front of our student body. They gathered all of the kindergarten through 6th grade students together for an assembly. She sat in a chair in the middle of the gym in front of them, knit the 10 by 10 square, and defeated the world record in front of all of the kids. As she did that, she talked to the kids about dreaming big and working hard to achieve their dreams. It's not a world's largest item. It does not trap and kill mice, so it cannot be certified. But you are in luck. The bar on the bottom lifts up. You could slide underneath there, and you could pretend like you're a dead mouse. I know, check it off your bucket list today. Everybody has that one on there. That golf club that's next to it is a world's largest item. The shaft of that is an old interstate light pole, and before golf clubs were made out of iron, they were commonly made out of persimmon wood, so that driver there is made out of locally harvested persimmon wood. That item did not have to work in order to be certified. The building coming up here on the left is one of 2 coffee shops we have here in town. This one features a drive-through. This is an old weigh station. This is where they would weigh the coal when they would bring it into town. That minion next to it is not a world's largest item, but he is standing there waving his arms, begging for a ride. The pencil here on the left is often mistaken as the world's largest pencil. The world's largest pencil is actually in New York. This one is another one of those old telephone poles. The eraser on the end is something they call a pig. Jim works in the oil pipeline industry, and a pig is something put in those pipelines and pushed through to clean them out. The metal band on that is nothing more than aluminum heat tape. This is the former world's largest workshop. This is where all of these items were built and created at. Jim did have a woodworker and a welder on staff with him that assisted in the creation of all of these items. They are no longer creating world's largest items inside of that. That is now a refurbishing center. That's where the top and the ear of corn are both at, being refinished. The welder who worked with Jim is a cousin of mine. Don't be impressed by that, guys. It's Casey. We're all related here. Now, when Jim was trying to decide what he wanted to put in our town here, he had very fond memories of sitting on his grandma's front porch in her rocking chair, listening to the wind chimes. That's why these 2 items were selected. That little cafe right next door is called Whittling Whimsy. It's named after Jim's grandma. And this area right here is kind of dedicated to her. The whimsy comes from whimsical. He thinks of his childhood as whimsical and magical, but as you age, you can kind of lose that. That's why he makes items from your childhood, so as an adult, when you come back, they are larger than life, whimsical, and magical to you once again. Across the street right here, this is the world's largest rocking chair. Number 2 is on the other side of St. Louis on Route 66. That is the one they defeated. That one was built on site. It took 2 years to complete its construction. It's made entirely out of recycled materials. That wood is more of the old telephone poles. The pipes that make up the back are old interstate light poles, and the poles that make up the legs are old pipeline pipes. That giant over there weighs in at 46,200 pounds. And in order to be certified, it did have to rock. So on the day that they were here to certify that, Jim placed himself and 9 of his male employees up in the seat of that. and they ran from one side of the chair to the other, back and forth until it rocked.
That'd be fun.
The building coming up here on the right is our public library. The posts that are out here on the side are a storybook walk. They change out that storybook every month. The green guy out here in front is not a world's largest item. This is our bookworm, and he is adorable. Just take a look at him. There's a bit of a debate over its name. Some of the librarians call it Booker, and some of the librarians call it Libby. Regardless of what you want to call it, it's designed for you to find longer photo opportunities. So what you're looking at here looks like the world's largest golf team. He's the same size and he's the same shape, but he is actually a replica. This one here is made out of metal, and he's been airbrushed to look like he's made out of wood. The real one is made out of wood. Remember, it has to be the same material. They used the same telephone poles that they used throughout the town. They laminated them together. The laminating process took them 5 months, 60 gallons of glue, and 120 pounds of screws. But because he's made out of wood and he sits out here, he weathers. They often have to refinish him. They are also the home to the tallest of all of the items that we have here in our town. Oftentimes people think that rocking chair is the tallest. The rocking chair comes in at 56 feet tall, and this guy here comes in at 61 foot, 1 inch tall. This is the world's largest pitchfork. In order to be certified, it did not have to work. The deciding factor whether something has to work or not is based off of whether there's an existing record. If there is a record, the item does have to work. If there's no record, in order for it to be considered the world's largest, it has to be 10 times the size of the original. So an original pitchfork is 6 foot long. This one is 61 foot, 1 inch long, which qualifies him as the world's largest. This little piggy that went to the market is the newest addition to our town. He was brought in here last summer. He is not a world's largest item. The world's largest piggy bank is in Germany. That one there is an old propane tank. He weighs in at just over 400 pounds, and he is a real functioning piggy bank. The donations that go into that will go to help with the upkeep of all of these items.
So what satisfaction do you get from giving this tour? And obviously you shared a lot of information about things outside of Casey. So what kind of satisfaction do you get from giving a tour like this?
I love being able to share a community that I love and encouraging people to come back in the area to enjoy it as well.
City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com.